I'm really psyched about this right here. This chart. I collected the data myself and graphed it just so that I could see that my room wasn't hot as hell. It's not. It averages 75 degrees, has a median of 74 degrees or so. Let me see. Median 75 degrees, min, max, all centered around 75. The temperature that I set it at. It just proved my theory, my hypothesis. I'm pretty psyched about that. Except right now my air conditioning's broken. So this date is kind of moot. But how did I get here? So a couple of weeks ago, my key fob broke for my car. The battery exploded and I just couldn't get in. And it's a push to start. So it was a real pain. I didn't want to spend a couple of $100, and this was an opportunity to learn about electronics. So I did what I always do. I YouTubed it and I asked ChatGPT, and here we are. By using vinegar and isopropyl alcohol, I could clean the corrosion. So for the first time ever, I opened up a circuit board and I tried cleaning it. I wasn't worried about the electronics anymore. I saw that this would work. And I delved into a new terrain, a new domain, beginner electronics. And Code and More, really big thanks, has all of the beginner components, right? That would have been in the most basic of computers. Really, this is like a little beginning computer science course, but it led to microcontrollers. Now, I'd heard of a Raspberry Pi and Arduino before. I didn't really know what they were, and it sounded way too complex for me, beyond my scope. But after SQL and Python and R, and all these different languages like CSS and HTML, it's really just another language. So C++ and C are just another thing to learn. And oddly enough, after learning so many other languages, it comes pretty quickly. At least you can understand it. You might not be able to write it. So I had a vacation and I really wanted to learn about how to use a microcontroller. But an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi are fairly expensive. So with other guidance, I got an ESP32, a room actually, and it came with a camera, a motion sensor, speaker, servos, motors, resistors, LEDs, buttons, ultrasonic ranging, a humidity sensor, photoresistors, LCD screens, a keypad, all sorts of stuff. I was stoked. I was excited to learn. And within the first day of using it, I was setting up multi-switch, multi-LED circuits, and I was just having a ball. By that night, I couldn't figure out how to use the SD card. And with all my tests, I couldn't figure it out. So even though I had all these different sensors, I couldn't write data because I really wanted to log my own data, collect my own data, and analyze it. I'm a data analyst, so why not? So I went back to the drawing board. I asked ChatGPT, how else can I get this? Between creating my own Wi-Fi server, my own SQL database, and all these things, I went with the easiest option. What can I do to get this off the ground? Which is key in any project-based learning. What is the minimum viable product to actually learn something. So I did Bluetooth serial communication. I connected the Bluetooth to my device. And with this code right here, I managed to read the temperature and humidity data from this humidity and temperature sensor to this. And this is what the data looks like. Well, originally, these three columns, a little bit of cleaning up and some formula. This is what it looks like. 5,000 samples, 5 seconds apart, over the span of 7.5 hours, with some conditional formatting, leading to this. All my own data in my bedroom in this particular day. So I wanted to see what else I could do. All right, I have all of this, so what else can I do? Well, I used this code, finally connected to Wi-Fi, made a Telegram bot to send a message, motion detected, when my motion sensor notices anybody. I had to, figure out a little bit of code here. I didn't write it all myself, I'll be honest. But in order to debug it, you kind of have to understand it enough, don't you? I may not write a recipe, but you have to understand what's wrong with it in order to make it properly. You don't just take orders blindly. You have to workshop these things. And so it's kind of educational using ChatGPT in this way. It gives me something that might be 90% right, and I have to figure out the other 10%. What's working, what's not. You test out the output, and you just see what happens. It's pretty fun. So I went from having a busted key fob, learning electronics, picking up a microcontroller, and now I'm data logging. What's next?